With us now is Dr. Jayne Morgan, Executive Director of the Piedmont Healthcare COVID Task Force in Atlanta. Doctor, in states with the highest case rates, people are now getting vaccinated at a pace not seen since April. States like Louisiana, Missouri, and Arkansas, they all have seen more than 50,000 people in just the last 6 days get a shot. Now, that might not sound like a lot, but average daily doses have more than doubled in those states since the start of July. If this trend continues, how long will it take, do you think, to turn the corner on this latest COVID surge?
Hi, Anna, and thank you for having me today. That's such an excellent question. One thing we have to remember with these vaccinations, whether you're receiving the 2-dose messenger RNA vaccines or the single-dose Johnson & Johnson vaccine, it takes several weeks for you to reach full immunity. So we are still very much in the middle of this crisis. Even people who are being vaccinated now and will be vaccinated tomorrow and continue to be vaccinated, we still will have this hill to climb because we have to be able to reach full immunity before we can begin to talk about that herd immunity that begins to protect all of us, including our unvaccinated children. So I'm afraid that I have to say that we're still in this for the long haul.
Yeah, and we're at 50% now of fully vaccinated population, and we know herd immunity is somewhere in the realm of 80, 85, maybe even 90% because of the Delta variant is what we've been told. In Texas, there's going to be a big concert this weekend, and we've learned attendees will be required to show proof of vaccination or a negative COVID test. Last year, you'll recall, when cases spiked, things were just shut down. They were canceled. Now it's prove you're vaccinated. Will this strategy work, do you think, to stop the spread and keep events safe?
And certainly this strategy should help to contain the virus and to create safe environments where people can begin to socialize and reclaim our previous lives. And so the point is containment. We are trying not to continue to propagate or allow this virus to continue to move forward. And so these are the measures that are in place. And we certainly think that those measures will be helpful as we continue this race of humans versus virus.
Mask mandates in schools have become contentious. Some leaders are arguing masks can actually be harmful to kids. Is there any sliver of truth to that? What are the facts?
Yeah, I think the facts are that this virus is harmful. And this virus is going to be a risk, not only to children, but to their parents. And it is really incumbent on all adults to protect children by becoming vaccinated and creating this zone of protection around them. Masks are simply a tool, but we have these vaccinations. By the way, the vaccinations are not miracles. I've heard people describe them as miracles. These vaccinations are the result of hard, diligent, dedicated scientists who've worked for almost 20 years to bring these vaccines to us. This is the conscientiousness and discipline of science on full display. And so the best way to protect our children is for all the adults surrounding them to get vaccinated such that our children are then protected.
And just to be clear, though, masks are not dangerous for children, correct?
Yeah, masks are not dangerous. Simply, we have something that's covering the nose and mouth and people are able to breathe. And so as far as danger, these are not dangerous things to add to, any part of our attire. And certainly I think people can feel comfortable if they're concerned with mass suffocating children or something to that degree. That simply is not plausible.
Just a myth. Okay, I want to ask you quickly about boosters. The FDA, the CDC, we've learned, are planning to present a booster shot strategy sometime in September. Germany, France, Israel, and the UK are already moving forward with third doses. If these other countries feel that they have enough information now to move forward, is the U.S. being too conservative? Should America be taking action now?
Yeah, I think I agree with the direction that America is going in, and that we still are really trying to get first doses into people. If we could get first doses into people and get the majority of our population to that immune state, we could certainly begin to stem the tide. I think boosters, when you talk about boosters, we certainly have to think about the immunocompromised, people who have cancer, chemotherapeutic agents, transplant patients, organ transplant patients. What we don't know is that even though these patients may receive the full dose of the vaccine, we really don't know if they reach full immunity because their immune systems are suppressed. And those particular patients might benefit especially from a third dose at this point.
And to that point, I just want to read you this tweet from Dr. Jonathan Reiner, who's a frequent guest on CNN. He writes, "I gave a kidney transplant patient with no COVID antibodies a prescription for a booster dose, and 3 pharmacies refused to give him the shot. CDC needs to move forward with boosters for our immunocompromised patients who are still vulnerable." I mean, don't the immunocompromised deserve some clarity on this, given there's been so much information about do we or don't we need boosters?
Absolutely. And I love Dr. Jonathan Reiner. I trained with him. He trained under me. I trained under him at George Washington University. I absolutely agree with that. I think the CDC is currently meeting to try to provide some clarity on that very issue. The entire medical and scientific community has a question about these immunocompromised. And we know that some of the trials are going on, Moderna and others, specifically looking at this particular population, the organ transplant population, with regard to what type of immunity they mount once they have received both doses of the vaccine. And so we're definitely looking for that guidance to come forward because those questions are being asked.
Dr. Jayne Morgan, I really appreciate your taking the time. Thank you for being with us on this Friday and offering your expertise. Thank you for all you do.